Looks like a lot of coffee has been had here in the last 15 minutes. That's good. That's what it's for. All right, we have an awesome fireside chat coming up here. The guy who's going to lead this chat with Sara Taheri, who is the VP of and Chief Product Owner at Prudential, is somebody I'm very fortunate to call a friend. When I first got into this market, it was 5.5, 6 years ago, there was a guy that was running a company called Voicebot, and we happened to not live too far from each other. He lived in Northern Virginia at the time. And I'll always remember just our first conversation where we talked about this market and what was going to happen. And I have to say, everything that he told me in that first conversation probably has come true. He really does know this market inside and out. You probably know who he is. I want to bring up to the stage Bret, Kinsella, the CEO and founder of Voicebot.ai, and Sara Taheri, VP and Chief Product Owner at Prudential. Let's hear it for Bret and Sara. Have a great chat. We look forward to it. Thank you, Bret.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
All right, really excited to be here today. This conference has been one of the most important things, I think, for this industry, and we can see it once again. It was the first to bring together a large crowd back in 2018, and thousands of people in the industry, and in fact, in many ways, sort of cemented the industry. And I feel like right now, this year, we're doing the same thing again. And what I'm also really excited about is to have Sara here, because if we went back a few years ago, we weren't talking about these really practical applications of voice assistants and how it's actually transforming large enterprises. And so I think you're really going to benefit from hearing from Sara today about where we are in the next phase, about how voice assistants, voice AI technology is really becoming pervasive throughout business and in addition to many consumer applications. But Sara, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so the first thing we should do is, why don't we talk about your group? So what's the mission? What are you tasked with doing, and what do you think about every day?
Sure. So I'll start off with the company. I think Prudential is probably needs no introduction. It's a company that for over 145 years has been helping clients and institutions protect and grow their financial wealth. We're based out of Newark, New Jersey. And in terms of what I do, I'm the Chief Product Owner, so set the strategic vision for a new term that I just learned this morning from Kevin from OneReach, and I think that term was an intelligent communication fabric. So I'm gonna use that. So I set the vision for our intelligent communication fabric. So our contact center, which includes anything from all the different ways that our customers engage with us to receive service, whether that be a chat, a live chat, voice in our contact center, self-service through our contact center, all the way to when an agent picks up the phone and talks to our customers and is able to service that customer.
Okay, so those are a lot of the things that you do, the capabilities you provide. What is it that you're tasked with in terms of performance goals? Like, what does Prudential want you to accomplish that makes it better for your customers, for the operation?
Yeah, so transformation. So from a contact center perspective, what we want to be able to do is put our customers even more of a focus on our customers than ever before, to allow them to be able to receive service in ways that they expect. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But how can we provide them with experiences that expect 24 hours a day, self-service, so that they can resolve the questions and needs and get the service that they really deserve, and make those experiences as frictionless as possible through a multitude of different channels.
Got it. And you didn't say some of the things that we hear a lot, like deflection or first-time call resolution or session time, whatever it is. I assume those are all important, but it doesn't seem to be the driving mission.
In my opinion, no. Right? I think a lot of transformation is typically based off of call deflection, right? However, we as consumers, maybe let's start there. As consumers, we all make phone calls, whether it's to our banks or to our internet service providers or to retail companies. Don't we get frustrated when they bury their phone numbers into their websites and you can't find a way to contact them? Or they have a chat that really doesn't do anything, or that they're only open a certain amount of hours, and when we try to contact them, one example that I have is there's this company that I've called that charges me to call and get service for being paying for something, which I think is, completely ridiculous. But we as consumers have a set of expectations, right? So maybe going back to our dial-up days, you all remember when we had to sit there and wait for our internet to get connected? And we were so patient. I think and now we can't even wait 30 seconds for a web page to load. Our expectations have completely changed. And that's the same case for our experiences as consumers when we are about to receive service, right? We no longer will tolerate having to listen to complicated phone menus where you have to listen and you don't know if you heard them all, so you're pressing 9 to hear it again, or you accidentally press a number and you realize that you didn't get to the right agent and they have to transfer you. So yes, I think call deflection is important, but at the heart of it is really the customer experience, because if we can't get that right, our customers don't want to engage with us. They can't tolerate wait time and all that.
I'm really stuck in this idea of the menu, because the menu never changes. There's always a voice that says, the menu may have changed, listen to everything, and the menu never changes. It's like, oh, jeez. It's like being gaslit by anybody you call. So when you talk about transformation, right? So let's unpack that a little bit. So contact center transformation, we think about from and to. What's from? That's easy. What's to?
Yeah. So a wise friend reminded me today that transformation is hard. So I'm going to start off with transformation is hard. And the from is not just a technical change, and we'll talk a little bit about the technical change, right? The from to everything that we've been hearing in this amazing conference, right? To conversational language, so that the customers can use their voice and their natural language to be able to describe what they're calling about, and being transferred to the most qualified representative to answer their question. Contact center transformation to me is also, being able to provide multi-channel support to our customers who may want to engage with us in any which way they want to be engaged with. Maybe that's a chat. Maybe that chat turns into a live chat. Maybe that live chat turns into a phone call. Hopefully not all of those, but customers, are constantly channel switching, and they want to be able to interact with us in different ways at their convenience. I think a key part of that transformation is what you all have heard multiple times, is that omni-channel capability, where it doesn't matter which way the customer started, that context is threaded throughout their interaction, so that they don't have to repeat themselves. They don't have to re-authenticate themselves. That the agent who ultimately, should they get that call or that live chat, has that history, so that they can really service that customer from a place of understanding rather than friction. So that's definitely a big aspect of it. The other aspect of transformation, in my opinion, and there is just so much to unpack here, which I don't think we're going to have time, but I want to hit on some of the key ones. The other aspect of transformation is the people and the process aspect of it, right? You can't just transform and take contact centers and experiences that have taken you decades to create, typically in an agile environment, move into a new technology, but still have your same old processes and or same old metrics, right? If we're talking about transformation and you're putting customers at the heart of everything that you do, you may want to reevaluate some of those metrics that you have, right? Average handle time is excellent for workforce management perspective, so that you know that you are staffing up appropriately and that you can handle those call volumes. But average handle time gives that connotation that, I need to get that customer off the phone so I can get the next one. So that may not be a metric that you want to transform along with you. You may be wanting to look at things like, speed to answer and or first-time call resolution, or a reduction in your call transfers, right? If we're able to use conversational language and know exactly what the customer is chatting and or communicating to us about, we should be able to route that call to the most qualified agent that can solve that and therefore reduce your call transfers. And the other one that I will add is, with the introduction of more and more self-service, another metric you may want to be looking at as you do transformation is how well your customers are adopting and not falling off that customer journey. So not only adopting it, but completing that self-service transaction to completion. So those are some new metrics.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, how many times they get into that queue, that new capability, and they abandon. Correct. It's like cart abandonment, like if anybody who's worked in e-commerce or something like that, like journey abandonment in that case, right?
Absolutely, and you want to be able to reduce that, right? Use the data, understand where you are as your baseline, but then have metrics to continue to improve that as you add more and more enhancements and features. So
there's one other thing that you didn't touch on here, but I think is also a significant part of digital transformation, is the operating philosophy has changed. We've talked about this idea that you were really focused on testing and learning. I would suspect that 10 years ago, that was not the operating philosophy of the group.
It definitely wasn't, right? Waterfall, right? You take a number of years to build out a technology, work as a group, and then unveil and realize, hey, we didn't consider this and we didn't consider that. So we operate in a safe, agile framework. We have a fairly large train looking at our transformation, and it's about knowing what priorities we have. And we always communicate. Even just last week, I was talking to a leader saying, hey, it's taken us decades to get our current, or I'm going to say our old contact center to a place where it was, right, based on learning and customer feedback and all the integrations that we've done. And now that we're looking at an iterative approach, we're looking at being able to handle those really big cases, and then using that feedback loop from our callers, from our workforce management team, from the agents that are receiving those calls and taking their feedback and quickly making enhancements, using data that we glean from our intents and our experiences and customer journey to continue to tweak and improve those experiences.
Okay, so you're doing a lot of testing and learning, you're applying a new technology, you're seeing how it works, you're tweaking it, you're maybe removing it, trying something else. Where maybe in that journey have you been surprised? Has there been something that came up and you're like, that really worked, or that didn't work, and I thought it was gonna work?
Yeah, that's a good one. So I'm going to be humble and say, hey, listen, we all make mistakes. Okay, first of all, transformation is hard. There's always going to be, you're always going to get, partners who think it's pretty quick and you can get the round up and running really fast. But as you integrate it into, large corporations and your legacy systems, you always stumble upon things that were unforeseen. But even as a product owner, I think sometimes we make assumptions about what customers will and will not use, and we are often surprised, right? I had one of my technical partners make a suggestion about something that we should include as part of our chat. And I remember saying to this person, absolutely not. There's no way I would want that experience for our customers. Nobody's going to ask about that. That's just, an experience that you're hitting the customer at a most vulnerable time in their lives, and maybe that's not something that they would want to chat with us about. Boy, was I wrong, right? As you get the data, and you start, first of all, when you implement it and they start using it, you're definitely, using that data to understand how are they interacting with you. But I was wrong, right? I was like, wow, an experience that I thought customers would never want to use with a chatbot, they actually do want to use it. So I think going back to one of the questions you said, where have you been surprised? I've been surprised that the power of data, the power of testing and learning, the power of just knowing and setting those expectations that there will be surprises and there will be setbacks, and this transformation isn't going to come easy.
Got it. Okay, so the great thing for you is you have an unlimited budget because everyone in the company realizes how important your role is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure, what you said.
So you have to make
unlimited budget.
You have to make difficult trade-off decisions every day, I would guess. So tell me first, like, just to give everyone a perspective, like, how are you organized? I think you have product managers for the different capabilities, is that correct?
We have, so our product owner team sits on the business. And I was I saw my old boss outside, and I was telling him the story. I have always been in although I'm not a technologist, I've always sat in the technology space. And this is the first time I'm sitting in the business space, which was a little frightening at first. But I have to say, it is set up extremely deliberately in this sense, right? So I'll get into that in just a second. And then I have chief data office and technology partners that sit in our technology organization. And the reason why I think this model works really, really well is as product owners, and I have two of my product owners here with me, we are able to really understand and go deep in that vertical of not only how the business operates, but what are their challenges, right? I sit in meetings to understand how hard it is to acquire and or retain our agents, what it takes to train them, what the challenges are to make sure that they have the information that they need at their fingertips. And those challenges, right, and that deep understanding of our business, not just what we think is important, really helps us as product owners be able to prioritize what's important. If I as a product owner, maybe understand that we have hiring challenges or service level challenges, I may prioritize features to help the business in a different way than if I wasn't sitting in the business and I wasn't hearing and understanding them.
Okay, so now that we know you have unlimited budget,
right?
If you could hire one additional person, what role would they fill?
Well, I have an unlimited budget, so hopefully I'm able to hire more than one person.
Okay, we'll give you two with your unlimited budget. They can be
Two.
very highly paid, though.
Ooh, highly, okay. This is gonna be a tough one. If you would have asked me 3 weeks ago, I probably would have had a different answer. But based on where I am now, I would say it would be really important to have data analysis, right? Yes, you can automate a lot of that, but I do think that at least where we are, the data analysis to understand that customer journey, to understand, what are the most common failure points or the common friction points, where are our customers falling off on a map, are they calling us back? How did we resolve them so that we can continuously get better? So that data analytics, I think, is really important. And then if you gave me one more, I would improve, right? This session here has taught us so much about the importance of conversational language. I would probably add to staff additional support for our conversational language so that we can make sure that we are using the right emotions and the right language to engage our customers so that they can give us the best data possible and that we can in turn give them the best service possible.
Yeah, so you have data analysts on the team, you have conversation design, but you would augment those areas first.
I would absolutely scale, correct.
Sara Taheri, this has been great. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
All right.